I spent probably a lot of my 20s and 30s defending or like maybe explaining like, no, I'm not married. No, I don't have kids, that kind of thing. But um that was more of like a one-way conversation, I suppose. I haven't had a lot of true dialogue about it. Like my mom was such a good mom, and I'm like her in a lot of ways. So like it feels like I should have just been growing up like nurturing and like doing all the things that she was doing. And like no one told me to do that. No one told me not to do it, but like I didn't do it. I didn't like baby dolls. I wasn't like playing with an easy bake oven or whatever. I was never like, oh, a baby, or, I just didn't. I don't know. It was like a decision. It just wasn't in my spectrum of like things I was excited about. And when I thought about what does my future look like or whatever, I only thought in terms of like, what city will I live in or what kind of career will I have? When I was envisioning all of these things, there was never a baby.
Did you feel any sort of sense of like shame or embarrassment? Because that's obviously not the norm.
My mom goes to church every Sunday. And for a while, when I was home, the nice thing to do would have been to get up and go to church with her. But the part I hated was afterwards when like, I was like this show pony, like, look, my daughter's home and whatever. It was like, okay, you've graduated from college. And I was like, yeah, I live in a tiny 1 bedroom apartment. Just kind of go out and do whatever I want whenever I want. Sometimes I date boys, but typically it doesn't last. Like, what I mean? It's like, it's so much easier to be able to say, yes, hi, this is my husband. This is, our kid. Like, oh yeah, look at them, fawn over them. It just didn't have that story. And so I think subconsciously, like I was trying to avoid some of those situations. And especially with women, you know, they don't know what else to talk about. They're like, oh, do you have children? I'm like, no. And then it's like, oh, right? Like, what do we talk about now? Well, because you know what they're thinking in their mind. They're thinking, why? Right. But they can't ask that. I either say, like, that just wasn't something I ever planned on doing, or, sometimes I say, no, but I've got a great cat, or, try to figure out some way to be graceful. But yeah, it ends up probably being more awkward for them than it is for me.